Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is going to be absolutely bonkers now. The data is in, and Redfin is absolutely clueless as to the direction of the housing market. Now, with their stock being down 72%, investors also see that they are absolutely struggling to get a handle on the housing market. And you probably ask yourself the same thing as me. How can this possibly be? And my conclusion is their desire to make money is clouding their logic. And I don't get why so many economists can get so many things wrong. What's the point of economists if they can never predict anything accurately? It's absolutely wild to me, but we're going to dig into a video that the CEO of Redfin made in conjunction with Bloomberg. So we're going to listen to that video, and I couldn't make it through the whole video, you guys. We're going to go through about 4 minutes or a little bit less of the video. And I want you guys to tell me what you think. Do you think the CEO of Redfin is on point? Do you not think he's on point? Personally, I don't think he's taking things seriously. It didn't seem like he was taking the interview seriously. He's laughing and joking when the reality is he just laid off 8% of his workforce, right? Maybe he should be a little bit more cautious and less optimistic, but we're going to dig into this right now. But before we do, remember, I'm not your financial advisor. This is my personal YouTube channel. I'm working super hard for you guys. So please like this video, subscribe if you haven't, comment below. You know they keep me going. And as always, hit notifications so you know when I'm dropping my videos. But let's get started on this video from Bloomberg right now and listen to what the Redfin CEO has to say.
We've talked when the stock is down, but today shares are up more than 14%. How do you square that with the housing market taking a turn from the worst, to use your words?
Well, I think it could have been worse. Analysts were worried that the market had completely crashed, and instead, over the past 4 weeks, it's gotten better. So in June, demand was far worse than almost anyone expected. We had the biggest rate hike since 1987. Economists were thinking that there'd be a 1% decrease in home sales, and instead there was a 9% decrease in home sales. So people freaked, but things got a little better in the last few weeks of July, and that led to some optimism in the housing market.
Here's the thing, you guys, any optimism, any potential rebound that people thought was happening right now is an absolute joke. It's not real. Mortgage rates dipped. They're going back up. Watch the 10-year treasury. You will see for yourself. But here's the thing. They thought 1%. It was actually 9%. How the heck, like I said, do they keep getting this so wrong? The only thing that we can count on as far as forecasting from Redfin is they're going to be wrong. That's the only trend they're creating. They're creating a trend that what we say, what we forecast is wrong. That's their trend. But let's get back to this video right now.
When you look at the housing market, are you optimistic or are you freaking out a little bit? What are the trends that you see that are most alarming?
It changes day to day. So I think on one hand, you've got places like Boise, Salt Lake City, and Denver having more than half their listings drop their price. In Boise, it was 62%. The iBuyers are just ripping the bottom out of the market because we have to price ahead of everyone else to liquidate our inventory. So that has made the correction sharper, but hopefully more short-lived than anyone expected. And on the other side, the Fed was dovish about interest rates last week. And so mortgage rates have really come down. Buyers have come back because home prices are down and now the mortgages are more affordable. So we've seen a slight uptick in demand. I think it's good that we're letting some air out of the balloon in general. It was too crazy in 2020 and 2021.
So have buyers rushed back into the market? Have prices really gone down that much? The answer to that, y'all, is no. Couple buyers went back into the market. After a couple weeks of that, rates are going back up. And the thing is according to Redfin, prices are only down 3.8%. I want them down 15%. So in my opinion, we're not there. But what I also think is very interesting about what he said is they're liquidating their assets. They're liquidating the homes that they purchased. Now, the reason I think that's interesting is that's probably a sign of things to come. Instead of a foreclosure crisis that we had back in 2008, what if we have an investor crisis where investors start liquidating all of their houses to get out of the housing market? That inventory floods the housing market. It sits, price cuts. Those price cuts leads to other price cuts. Do you see how it can domino effect? unlike 2008, I believe that this time around we can see a massive surge in a massive surge of inventory from actually investors. So this may be a sign of things to come. Think about that. Very astonishing. But let's get back to this video right now.
What direction is this all going in? I mean, do you think a recession is inevitable, or are we already in one and somebody just has to call it?
I don't think we're already in a recession. I think the housing market is definitely in a jam where it has been very volatile. It has been hard on people trying to buy and sell their home. But the rest of the economy is doing reasonably well. The stock market has recovered. There was a great jobs print today.
So he's saying he's saying the stock market has recovered and we are not in recession. Doesn't money really cloud logic here and judgment? Do y'all see that? It's astonishing to me. These, normally brilliant, absolutely brilliant people, because they have a desire to succeed, because they have a desire to financially grow, that motivation and that biasness really clouds their logic. It actually taints them and actually cripples them. So I'm really blessed, you guys. I know that I don't have to rely on closing deals to survive. I don't have to rely on telling people they should buy, doing loans, selling homes in order to survive. I'm free to do these types of videos, to be completely honest with you, because I have no financial interest in this market, in that financial interest will not negatively impact my morals, right? And what I believe is what's coming down the pipeline, because I believe also in transparency. I told you that. My mother, she told me when I first started at 18 years old in real estate, truth, honesty, transparency. That's all you need, Travis, in order to be number one in the industry. At the time, I didn't understand that, but now I do understand that, because unfortunately, there's so many professionals and industries and companies that are household names in real estate that keep getting it wrong, and they keep saying crap that essentially homeowners are believing in, and it's messing those homeowners up. And I hope you guys remember this. I hope you remember who we can't count on anymore. But let's get back to this video right now.
You do have a great outlook on the housing market. And what is your outlook for, let's say, second half of the year, availability and affordability of homes? What are you expecting?
Homes are going to get more affordable. Prices are coming down. Sellers across the board are cutting their prices. The beautiful homes are the ones that are selling right now. The homes that have a funky layout are actually being withdrawn from the market. So the price drops are actually steeper than most people realize because of the selection bias. If we had to sell all the homes that we sold a year ago, prices really would have fallen. So that has led to more buyers coming back to the market. I think that it's going to be a fairly balanced market for the next few months until the Fed makes another move. But if the Fed makes another move, all the bets are off, because consumers have been so ridiculously rate sensitive over the past few months. I'm used to that. I've been doing this for 15 years, but I've never seen such rate increases and consumers respond so strongly to those rate increases.
I'm going to tell you the two reasons why consumers are responding so greatly to rate increases. The first one is strict lending guidelines. When the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform Act was passed, it created something called qualified mortgages. Qualified mortgages give lenders protection from being sued by consumers that go into foreclosure. So here's the thing, those lending standards being strict, any slight change of interest rate adjust greatly the mortgage payment. When the payments adjust on loans these days, the DTI and income restrictions are so strict, it has a massive impact on buyers' purchasing power. But not only that, remember how this bubble was created. It was created from hyper demand, not short on supplies. Anytime hyper demand comes into our market, usually usually because of the government or the Federal Reserve, it doesn't matter how many supplies we have. It's still going to form a bubble. There's never going to be enough supplies when we have too much demand or hyper demand. And remember, it was artificially created because of COVID. These are facts, y'all. This is not guessing. These are facts. Remember that. Now let's listen to the rest of this video right now.
So what does this mean for those would-be first-time home buyers that are just trying to get on the property ladder and have not been able to?
Yeah, it's a real generational challenge for the fabric of American society. There's a whole bunch of people who are coming of age right now who can't afford the American dream. And the pinch is that they're stuck between rising rents and very high home prices. So We try to tell people to date the rate and marry the house. That just means that you can refinance in a couple of years. But if you can now buy a house that would have sold for $200,000 over asking, some crazy bidding war just 3 months ago, and that is now sitting on the market, make an aggressive offer. And that is especially true in the middle of the country. In the coastal markets, we've definitely seen price declines, but things got way out of hand in places like Las Vegas, Phoenix, Boise, Salt Lake. The middle of the country and the Sun Belt was way overpriced, and that is now coming back to earth. And there's going to be a significant correction there.
So here's the thing, you guys, despite what he's saying, you never want to marry your house and date your interest rate. You want to assume that you can't refinance and you don't want to go broke buying your house. You don't want to be married. I was married to my house in Southern California. I went into foreclosure. I lost everything. It took me 13 years to rebound. So instead of me being this baller investor on YouTube, I'm now that someone that barely just made it back to where I was in 2007, right? Again, you don't want to marry your house. You want to purchase a house and be comfortable. You don't want to struggle. Remember that, especially right now when we have a recession knocking at our door. We're already in recession, but again, a confirmed recession. Either way, you guys, I have 3 things that I want to conclude on after watching this right now. But before I do, I want you guys to comment below and tell me what you think of this Redfin CEO. Personally, I give him an F. I didn't hear a lot of warning. I didn't hear a lot of certainty with being cautious. I'll take it back. I'm going to give him a D because there was a tad bit of caution in there, but there was a lot of optimism as well. But I'm going to give him a D. I'm taking the F away. I'm flip-flopping on the F. I'm giving him a D. That's my opinion. But the 3 things I want to talk about is, number 1, it seems as though that economists are biased to whoever's paying them. Okay, so the number 1 thing is, quite frankly, it doesn't appear that we can trust economists because it appears that they are biased to their employer. Number 2, companies are going to start having no choice but to start explaining the downturn in the market, the crash, the loss of equity, because now the data is so overwhelming, they're being forced to. Now, number 3, some of these peoples, I really feel like they're really clueless. And that's the problem with money. And they say the money is the root of all evil. And the thing is, guys, I don't necessarily think it's the root of all evil, but I definitely think that money is going to cloud most people's minds. And that's one reason why I tithe my money, so that I'm never bound to my money like I was in my youth. I was so addicted to money in my youth, I lost everything, right? So it feels wonderful that today I don't have to be addicted to money. I don't have to try to make $1 million a year. I simply want a balanced life. And it's really sad for me to see all of these people, all of these intelligent people be so jaded and so clouded because they want to make money. And as a result of that, they're giving horrible advice. And I can only imagine how many people have listened to their advice and invested as a result. And now that they've invested, things going down, inventory up, they're probably kicking themselves in the butt for listening to these guys. And here's the worst thing of all. How are you going to hold them accountable? How are you going to hold these people accountable? You can't really do that. It's a shame, but it is what it is, you guys. And I really appreciate you watching this video with me. I appreciate you traveling along this journey with me. And if you're out there investing in real estate, I do wish you luck, and I hope you win.